Open your phone right now. Scroll once. You'll see perfect smiles, luxury cars, self-help quotes, fake humility. They call it content. I call it camouflage. Because what you're watching isn't confidence, it's control. Welcome to the 2025 empire, where power isn't money or muscle, it's attention. Your worth is a number on a screen. Your reputation lives in the algorithm. Your crown? Wi-Fi. Once upon a time, rulers sat on thrones. Now they sit behind ring lights. One viral moment can create a god, and one misstep can erase a legacy overnight. This is the new battlefield, the digital chessboard. The manipulators aren't kings or presidents anymore. They're influencers, CEOs of perception, masters of illusion. They don't need armies, they have audiences. Every authentic post you see is a calculated move. Every story is a weapon. Every silence is strategy. Machiavelli said, "Men judge more by the eyes than by the hands." He meant people believe what they see, not what's true. And in this world, appearance is truth. Show success, or they'll assume power. Show mystery, they'll assume depth. Show emotion, they'll assume connection. Control the perception, and you control reality. So remember this, you don't need a kingdom to rule people anymore, you just need followers, because clout is the new throne. Now, let's enter the kingdom. Imagine the world as a giant medieval court made of pixels, billions of peasants scrolling through their feeds, kneeling not to kings, but to whoever owns the trending page. Every double tap is tribute, every comment is currency, and the algorithm is God. Machiavelli wrote that rulers must appear virtuous while acting ruthless. Today's princes do the same. They preach positivity while selling manipulation. They pretend authenticity to harvest trust. Nothing is posted accidentally. Even silence is a marketing tactic. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you really are. The wise understand. The internet doesn't reward truth. It rewards performance and perception, reality. Clout is dopamine disguised as destiny. It feeds the same addiction kings once had for power. Followers give you validation. Validation gives you confidence. Confidence gives you influence. And influence gives you control. That's why people fake lifestyles, buy followers, rent cars, fabricate relationships. Not because they're evil, because they understand the formula. If people envy you, they obey you. The manipulator studies emotion the way generals studied terrain. They weaponize envy, fear, and belonging. They don't sell products, they sell identity, and you pay with your attention. Meet Luca, 18, invisible, overlooked. One day he finds the prince. He reads about deceit, spectacle, control. He realizes people don't follow truth, they follow momentum. He begins posting, calculated lighting, ambiguous captions, quotes that sound profound but say nothing. Mystery spreads faster than clarity. He studies analytics like war maps. He learns when to appear humble, when to appear dominant. He fakes confidence until it becomes his armor. Classmates who once ignored him now comment, "King." Girls DM him, guys imitate him. He's the same kid, but now he understands optics, power. Yet behind the mask, he's numb, because the moment he stops performing, he disappears. Luca won the crowd, but lost himself. Machiavelli warned, "A prince who depends on the people builds on mud." Clout is that mud. It shifts the moment you stand still. Every era has its own battlefield. For kings, it was land. For corporations, it was money. For you, it's perception. Whoever controls what people see, controls what they believe. And in 2025, that's the ultimate weapon. Machiavelli didn't teach kindness. He taught strategy, how to rule human nature itself. If he were alive today, he'd call these not virtues, but algorithms of power. Let's break down the 8 laws of digital dominance. People don't follow truth. They follow clarity and confidence. Online certainty looks like truth. That's why influencers speak like prophets. They don't say, "I think." They say, "Here's the truth." It doesn't matter if it's half-baked. Conviction hypnotizes. Machiavelli wrote, It is unnecessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but necessary to appear to have them. Appear disciplined, appear successful, appear desired. The crowd fills in the blanks. You don't even have to fake your whole life, just frame it. Show 10 seconds of focus, and people assume you grind 24/7. Show 3 seconds of luxury, and they assume abundance. The mind believes patterns, not details, so the modern manipulator curates the mirror, never the truth. He edits the angles until admiration replaces doubt. The internet rewards noise but respects silence. Every time you overshare, you lose leverage. Mystery is the last luxury in an oversharing age. It builds anticipation, tension, and authority. Think about your favorite creators. You don't know everything about them. You just feel like you do. That's designed. They reveal enough to form connection, but never enough to dissolve intrigue. Machiavelli said, "Men admire most what is hidden from them. Post intentionally, speak rarely. Let curiosity become your marketing." Scarcity turns attention into obsession. If you flood the feed, you become wallpaper. If you vanish strategically, you become myth. Notice how the most followed people don't post constantly. They appear, and the internet stops to look. In psychology, scarcity triggers fear of loss. The brain values what might disappear. Drop content like a limited release. Make every post feel like an event. The less they get, the more they crave. Emotion is currency. Most creators spend it recklessly. Manipulators invest it surgically. Show vulnerability, but only when it serves the story. Display anger, but only when it amplifies dominance. Reveal sadness, only to humanize, never to weaken. People bond through emotion, not logic. That's why the digital prince doesn't avoid emotion. He designs it. He studies what tones trigger empathy, what phrases spark loyalty. He uses emotional contrast, laughter before pain, calm before rage, to hijack the viewer's nervous system. Men are moved more by the things they feel than those they see. Machiavelli, your emotions are not random, they're a rhythm. Learn to conduct them. In the old world, rulers divided territories. In the new world, they divide opinions. The algorithm amplifies friction. Every disagreement, every argument is free promotion. That's why successful creators are polarizing. Half the crowd loves them, half despises them, but both sides share them. Machiavelli said, "A wise ruler will never make himself hated, but will let others hate each other." You don't have to create chaos, just let it exist around you. Post something thought-provoking, say something that sounds too confident, then stay silent while the comment section wages war. Congratulations, you just doubled your reach without lifting a finger. The internet rewards outrage, because outrage spreads fast. But cold control is what makes people follow you long-term. Never argue online, never explain emotion. Respond with silence or precision. Every time you look triggered, you confirm inferiority. Every time you stay calm, you radiate dominance. This isn't arrogance, it's emotional discipline, and that's what separates rulers from reactors. Machiavelli's princes didn't fight every insult. They punished strategically, when the crowd would learn from it. In digital terms, ignore 99 comments. Respond to one, surgically, intelligently, publicly. That one moment of control rewrites the narrative. You can't win the internet without enemies. The moment people start hating you, you've become visible. Hate is proof of impact. It means you've challenged comfort, and in the algorithm, controversy equals oxygen. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." In digital terms, that means it's better to be discussed than ignored. So reframe hate as feedback. Each critic adds to your myth. Let them argue, while you evolve. But remember, don't become what they accuse you of. Let their noise feed your growth, not your ego. The final rule, exit while they still want more. Disappearing creates legend. When everyone else is addicted to posting, silence becomes rebellion, and rebellion becomes power. Go dark for a week after a peak. Let speculation work harder than your marketing team. Return like a storm, refined, focused, dangerous. Machiavelli observed, "The memory of power lasts longer than its presence, so vanish strategically. Absence makes followers mythologize you, and myth is stronger than attention." The most dangerous manipulator isn't a person, it's the system itself. But every system can be gamed. Study analytics like a chessboard. Notice what content makes people react, but ask why. Find patterns, then break them on purpose to reset curiosity. The true modern prince doesn't chase virality, he engineers it. These are not tips, they're tactics, fragments of ancient strategy disguised in modern form. Machiavelli taught rulers to manage perception, emotion, and timing. Today, you manage thumbnails, captions, and silence. The technology changed, human nature didn't. Master perception and you master the crowd. Master emotion and you master attention. Master silence and you master yourself. Because power online isn't about being seen, it's about being felt. Before you understand power, you have to understand the crowd. Because every manipulator's throne is built from followers, not gold, not land, but attention. The crowd thinks it's free. It believes every choice is independent, every follow is personal, every share is spontaneous. But watch closer. It moves like a hive mind, reacting, not deciding. Machiavelli wrote, "The people are by nature changeable, to be won by words, lost by reality." He meant that people chase stories, not truth. And in the modern world, the influencer is the storyteller, and the crowd is the character that doesn't realize it's scripted. Humans crave two things, direction and belonging. When life feels uncertain, they look for someone who seems sure. Confidence becomes currency. That's why entire audiences will echo one person's opinion, even when it contradicts logic. It's easier to follow conviction than question confusion. Social media magnifies this instinct. When thousands of people like something, the brain releases dopamine, validation through conformity. That's the bandwagon bias. You don't follow because you think. You follow because others did first. Men are more ready to offend one who desires to be loved than one who wishes to be feared. Machiavelli. Fear of exclusion rules the digital crowd. They obey the loudest voice because silence online feels like death by invisibility. Scroll long enough and you'll notice you're not choosing what to see. The algorithm chooses for you and feeding you what keeps you emotional, angry, envious, aroused, addicted. That's not chaos, that's control. The crowd thinks it's exploring ideas. It's actually being funneled into echo chambers built from its own reactions. Machiavelli would have admired the algorithm. It rules exactly how he advised. It is much safer to be feared than loved, when love depends on the people's will. The algorithm doesn't need love. It demands fear of missing out. You scroll not because you care, but because you can't afford to be out of the loop. That's digital obedience. The modern prince understands this psychology perfectly. He doesn't need to convince you. He just needs to trigger you. He crafts an image powerful enough to anchor emotion. Love, hate, envy. It doesn't matter which. When enough people feel the same emotion toward one image, a myth is born, and myths breed obedience. Look at viral personalities. They become symbols of rebellion, wealth, enlightenment, chaos. But behind the scenes, they're architects studying click-through rates like priests study scripture. The crowd mistakes consistency for truth. They see daily posts and assume discipline. They see high numbers and assume worth. Perception becomes worship. Obedience today doesn't look like chains. It looks like refresh buttons. Every notification is a microdose of dopamine. Each comment, a tiny hit of belonging. You open the app not out of joy, but out of withdrawal. Manipulators exploit this chemical loop. They schedule content to keep your emotions oscillating. High, low, hope, anger, relief. It's not content, it's conditioning. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Machiavelli followers. Forgive lies because addiction overwrites logic. They'll rationalize every betrayal just to preserve the illusion of connection. The crowd loves idols until the idols remind them they're followers. Then it turns. Cancel culture isn't moral, it's instinctual. The same mob that kneels to you today throws stones tomorrow to prove it never served. That's why the manipulator never trusts applause. He collects it but never depends on it. He stays emotionally distant, not because he lacks empathy, but because empathy in excess breeds vulnerability. The crowd obeys power because it fears irrelevance, but it destroys power to prove equality. It's a cycle of worship and execution, and the digital stage keeps it spinning. So what does the wise person do? They study the crowd the way a sailor studies tides. You can't stop the current, but you can sail it. Observe patterns, what they crave, what they fear losing, what they share without thinking. Then speak to those instincts. Not their intellect, that's persuasion, that's influence. But remember, if you start needing their validation, you're no longer steering the ship, you're drowning in it. He who becomes master of a city accustomed to freedom will destroy it or be destroyed by it. Machiavelli. Translated for today. If you try to please the internet, it will consume you. If you learn its psychology, it will serve you. Not everyone wants to rule. Some just want freedom. So here's the paradox. To escape manipulation, you must first see it. Every time you pause before reacting, you reclaim control. Every time you feel envy rising and choose silence, you're breaking the algorithm's spell. The manipulator thrives on impulsive emotion. The free thinker weaponizes awareness. Awareness is rebellion. Self-control is revolution. That's the truest form of power in the digital age. Not ruling millions, but ruling yourself. The crowd obeys whoever makes them feel most alive. But aliveness without awareness is slavery. Be conscious in a world built to distract you. Move with intention in a system designed to move you. Because the moment you stop chasing their validation, the game reverses. The algorithm bends around you. The manipulator loses interest. And you become untouchable. Every illusion breaks. The digital prince rules only as long as the crowd believes the story. One lie exposed, one clip out of context, and the empire collapses overnight. Because clout isn't loyalty, it's curiosity on a timer. The same crowd that crowned you will feed on your fall. Machiavelli said, "The people are fickle, today they love, tomorrow they hate." The algorithm forgets faster than it rewards, and every manipulator ends up serving the machine they built. So understand this. If your power depends on being seen, you'll live in fear of being unseen. Real control isn't invisibility, it's in detachment. Disappear before they decide you're irrelevant. Leave before they stop applauding. That's how legends survive the crowd's hunger. Freedom begins the moment you stop performing. Not every move needs an audience. Not every silence needs to be explained. The algorithm can't control what it can't predict. So move unpredictably, offline, privately, intentionally. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man acts in all things with temperance." In modern language, discipline, dopamine. Train your mind to crave peace more than praise. Use perception strategically, but never let it replace reality. You don't need to escape social media. You need to escape the version of yourself that lives for it. Power today is invisible. It's in confidence, composure, awareness. Everyone's fighting for attention. Few are mastering intention, so move quietly, post rarely, think deeply, and remember, modern manipulators don't wear crowns, they wear self-control, they wear silence, they wear freedom.